Here we go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mortgage Coach Friday Mastermind. Every Friday, we are here to mastermind with cool people, smart people, people of influence. And Todd, I mean, it's getting like, it seems like we're always together co-hosting this thing together now.
We've been on a great run. It's always fun, and I can't tell you how excited I am because when you talk about smart, cool, intelligent people, that's our guest today.
Yeah, no, he epitomizes that. I just wanted to see, like, how many times have we done this, Todd? What do you know what number this is?
It's like 200 and something.
Yeah, 219 guys, 219 times on a Friday. Now, Todd and I have missed some, but it really is cool to have Steve Sims. So, guys, Steve Sims probably needs no introduction anymore in the mortgage business. But because there are new loan officers just flocking into the business, it seems like 3 times the number of new loan officers are coming into the business. We will tell you a little bit about Steve Sims just in case you're new. But he's a leader outside the mortgage space, which I think is super cool to bring people that have accomplished incredible things outside the space. And then he's also been on a lot of mortgage stages. I don't think there's anyone in the past 2 years that has just come out of nowhere and dominated stages in the mortgage business. So Steve Sims, welcome to the call. For all the new loan officers, why don't you just tell them a little bit about who you are, and then we'll get into the topic at hand.
For 25 plus years, I was probably the most connected person in the planet that no one knew. My clients, quite simply, were billionaires. I'm well known for post that. I'm well known for sending people down in the Titanic, getting them a piano lesson by Elton John. I'm basically the nice version of Ray Donovan and the real life Wizard of Oz, as Forbes called me. But one of my best titles, which really made me giggle, was I was the Make-A-Wish Foundation for people with really big checkbooks. So I really like that one. But I was known for creating experiences, triggers, memories, and really cool cocktail stories. And when the book came out, I suddenly realized, thinking it was a bad book, honestly thinking I'd written a bad book, I thought everyone else was doing that, only to realize that everyone else was playing the smart game. They were going, oh, I want to do this. I better do that. And people were kind of like, they were thinking too far out of their own spectrum. So I simplify things, I create impact, and I focus on one thing, communication, because communication can lead to a relationship. And then somehow I found you lovely boys in this industry where it's all about communication, because the second it's not, Amazon's going to put you out of business. So that's my thing. That's my gig. That's what I do. And that's how I teach and train and speak now.
Well, this is like kind of a part 2 call, because it all started, I think it was like end of last year, late in December. And I wanted to make sure you were on the Mortgage Coach stage in January. And you and I had a prep call, which, by the way, it's in our YouTube channel. It's in our Facebook group. And guys, that was completely impromptu. Like we were scheduling a prep call, like, hey, what are we going to do together this year? And there was such a cool dialogue going on. I'm like, wait, let's push this live and let's prep in person. So it was pure gold. So check out that Facebook group. Somewhere in this group, just use the search feature and type in Steve Sims with one M, SIMS. But the topic at his hand, how to stand out. And guys, we live in a very noisy world. We live in a very information overwhelmed world. So that's not easy to do. And usually when Steve and I have this topic, we're getting into text video. And by the way, I guarantee you before it's over, we're going to talk about text video. But before we get into tactics, I want to talk about the inside game. I'll never forget the story you told. I've heard it from a couple of stages now and I'm not telling you should tell this story again, but the story of how you met Elton John and became the dude that put on his parties, his Academy Award parties. But I want to talk about the inside game to be a person who stands out. Like, what does that inside game look like to be a human being that knows how to stand out? So what are your thoughts on that?
That's actually a brilliant, beautiful question that's never, ever been asked before, and is probably the most powerful thing. The issue we've got today is that everyone is dictated on how they look, act, and relate based on somebody else's Instagram profile. Okay, we're trying to, well, all the top brokers drive a Mercedes. I better drive a Mercedes. I better do this. I believe today, and you've already said it, we're in a world of mass distortion and distraction. We're also in a heightened level of intolerance. We're basically pissed off 99% of the time because of things that are going on, whether it be politics, whether it be the pandemic, whether it be, is this restaurant open? Is it not? How's my business going to survive? We're at that level where it's not going to take too much to put us over the edge. But what does put us over the edge is when we're being sold. And that's what we don't. We don't want to be manipulated. In the old days, maybe someone would swing into a good sales pitch and you'd go, all right, boy, calm it down. Yeah, I know you're trying to sell me a car. But now we get very aggravated about it. So what we're in today is a solution-based society. If you can show up, and this is also about branding, marketing, positioning, and standing out, is all in the next line. So if you listen to nothing, just listen to this. If you can turn up to someone, exposing immediately that you are there to be a solution to that problem, they don't care about how you market. They don't care about how you look like. They don't care about how you brand. And if you think I'm wrong, think about it. 2 o'clock in the morning, you've got a headache. You go to the bathroom, you open up the bathroom cabinet, and you pull out a headache tablet. Do you care what that box looks like? But when you go and buy a diamond ring, it's got to come in a little box. It's come in a little bag. That bag's got to have a little, tie on it. That's aspirational versus solution-based marketing. And you are a solution to that person getting their ultimate lifestyle and life and home. So focus on being a solution. And quite simply, you don't have to care about what you look like.
I love that. I'm going to ask one more question, then Todd, I'm going to have you unpack this a little bit. But I mean, there are personalities that are just super attractive. They're magnetic personalities. The guys, when you look at the people that I interview, and when you look at the top 10 videos every year, the person that I'm interviewing, they've got a magnetic personality. They're just the way they show up in the world. People trust them. People like them. And I do want to just peel back, like, how do we get there? Because I think what you said is part of it. Like, if you truly come from a place of, I'm here to serve, I'm here to solve problems, I think that's a piece to the puzzle. I love this quote. We live in this world of mass distortion and mass distraction. I mean, that's powerful. But give me something else. Give me another inside out thought, tactic, way that we can all be better so that when it comes to deploying technology and tactics to stand out, by the way, and sometimes just having the courage to do it. So give us another one. And then Todd, you ask questions. Community, you can ask us questions. Let's mastermind.
It's empowerment. Like as a little kid, you try standing up, all your energy is focused on trying to stand up, trying to walk, you fall down, you stand up, you fall down. It's nerve-wracking trying to walk. It's like when you first rode a bike, it's scary as shit. But once you conquer it, you have confidence. And there's a lovely quip that I've learned many, many years ago. Experience is something you get 3 seconds after you needed it most. Okay. The more experience you get, the more empowered you are that you can be there. I can show up at a stage and appear confident. I'm not confident. I'm actually a very shy person, but I'm empowered that I'm there for you to give you information that's going to benefit you. So I can go onto a stage without being nervous because I'm there to solve the problems that you've got. I'm empowered because I'm experienced. If you're not experienced, it's hard to be magnetic. It's hard to be confident. It's hard to show up with this kind of solution based. And so then what happens is you end up becoming flaky and fake and, a bravado. You're not talking about bravado. The people you're talking about are the people that turn up like a quiet storm and go, hey, I know what to do because I've done it before. I've been there. So if you're new at the game, surround yourself with as much experience as you can. And that means like hanging around with people like we are now, Dave and Todd, people that know the industry. Get your empowerment from their experience. But to really be able to be magnetic, you've got to A, turn up as a solution, B, be yourself. I believe that we have a certain amount of energy in us, and you don't want to waste any of that battery of energy trying to be someone that you're not. Okay? Believe it or not, it takes zero effort for me to be me. So therefore, I've got 100% effort showing up, and I can literally turn up in your face and go, hey, how you doing? What's your problem? How can we find a solution? The rest of the stuff is gone because it's no longer relevant. So be a solution and be yourself. Those are the two things. Those two combined will empower you with the experience. So you become confident. You become almost cocky that you can overcome the situation. But those are the two things I would focus on.
So I kind of feel like we got to ask to the people who are scared by this, I think I know what you would say, but I would rather hear it from you. How do they just start doing this? How do they start showing up and being themselves versus hiding like they are right now?
So you've got this fear mentality. And I remember as a kid, I think I was about 18 years old, and I was in this cinema in back in London, and I saw this movie. And the movie was probably one of the biggest men movies out there. It was all macho. You'll be able to guess which one it is in a second. And I was with Claire, who's now my wife. And as I'm watching this movie and it's all going off, and it was actually shot here in California, there's a part in it where this guy's in a minivan and they're going to rob a bank. And the guy turns around because he says, aren't you scared? And he turns around and he says, fear causes hesitation, and hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true. And that was Bo Decipher from the phenomenal movie Point Break. But here was the funny thing. That statement stayed with me. And I realized the scariest thing in the planet was to not take a chance, was to not try. Fear is for me to be the exact same person today as I am in 6 months' time, and to have not tried anything else, to have not stretched, to not have experienced. So anyone out there going, oh, I'm a little bit scared of trying, don't be scared of trying. Be scared of standing still, because anything that stays still becomes stagnant and dies. You should be petrified of not trying new things. And those things can be as simple as jumping into asking questions on this panel. It can be going to events and speaking to people at the bars and going, hey, where did you fail? How did you make mistakes? You can learn a ton of experience from people that already have it. So those people out there that are a little bit timid about getting in this game, or maybe look at me and are a bit intimidated about conversing with people that have done it before, don't be stupid. Those people are there for you to benefit from. Take the shot, take the chance. I'll tell you one quick thing. When I was a young lad in London and I was turning up at this bar, as I always did, on a motorbike with my two boys, we'd all roll up, walk into the bar. There was a guy that turned up in this pub one night, and he owned a gas station and a grocery store. Now, in my end of London, this was like being in the bar with Richard Branson. This was like the most successful guy in my hood. And as I walked in there, we had enough money in our pockets for maybe a couple of beers and then maybe one extra that we would then drip between all three of us. As I walked in, one of my guys turned around and went, that's him. And he mentioned his name. I'll forget the guy's name. But the funny thing was, I never had met him. I didn't know what he looked like, but I knew the name. As soon as this guy said, that's him, for me, this was the richest man in the planet. So I walked over and started talking to him. And as I started talking to him, he said, oh, I'm just getting a beer. Do you want a beer? This was like me winning the lottery. I didn't have to buy a beer. I was that poor. This was like, wow. I got my beer and I turned around to my mates because I thought, oh, I wonder why they haven't got a beer. And they were leaning up against the wall at the far end of the bar. The funny thing I realized in that second that's still vivid to me was I run towards the opportunity of talking to someone that I wanted to be. Those guys stood still. truthfully, my friendship with them was never the same again because I realized I was different. So any of you that are out there that are frightened and petrified, use that to fuel you to get into conversations to learn from.
I love this conversation, and I want to share one strategy that I think is from the inside out before we transition to the tactics. But get ready, because we're going to start getting into okay, what are the tactics for a loan officer, for a realtor, anybody that's a local referral based professional. Be ready to start giving us some ideas of tactics. Before we do that, I want to address a post and give you guys an idea that I think will help you stand out in today's information overwhelm, mass distortion, mass distraction world. And I have been thinking about this a lot since Saturday when I heard of the passing of Larry King. And he was always someone that I looked up to because first of all, when he interviewed people, it was like he was talking, they were like talking to friends. It was uncommon to what you'd see on TV. Just the candidness and how people would just chat with him. And I always thought and he always brought out the awesomeness, like whoever that person was, and he interviewed awesome people. So he had the gift that who he interviewed really had something special. They had accomplished something special, but you always just felt like he brought it out. But I had the honor of seeing him speak, I think it was about 3 years ago. And then afterwards, I got to, before he did the mass book signing for everyone, I was in a small group that got to spend some time with him. And I knew I was going to have this opportunity with Larry King to have I don't know if it was 1 minute or 3 minutes, but it was less than 5 minutes. What question am I going to ask him? And I asked him, real quick. I mean, I just netted it out because I didn't know how much time I had. Larry, what kind of prep do you do for interviews? And what's your favorite kind of question? I didn't want to ask him, what's your favorite question? I asked him, what's your favorite kind? And I'll never forget how he answered it. He answered it, and I put this, it's a post. I'll pin it at the top of our Facebook group. But he's like, I don't do any prep, which, by the way, I don't totally believe. I mean, I think he probably did a lot of prep in his early days, but 1,000 interviews later, okay, Larry King doesn't do any prep. But I think he probably did. But he said, I don't do any prep. And I just focus on being super present and super curious. And then he just rolled right into, and the best questions are the questions after the question. And I was like, whoa. And I remembered that. And I've tried to implement that. And guys, in today's world, just being present in a way that people, acknowledging people, being present in the conversation, you will stand out. And if you make your goal, like going into a meeting with a realtor, hey, there's the question you're going to ask them, but know that the best questions and the most important questions are going to be the question after the question. And here's the deal. You will become better on the inside out if that's your target. So wanted to share that thought before we got into some tactics and strategies. Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Sims?
I met Larry a few times in Burbank, and I felt as though I got interviewed by him. And the bottom line of it is, you said it perfectly. The guy was constantly curious. He constantly wanted to know. And I remember sitting down with him. I did an interview with a Business Rockstar program, and Larry King was part of this group, and we were outside, and he sat down, and literally we're sitting outside just having a coffee before we went on to the show. And he leans forward and starts talking. And I suddenly realized I'm being interviewed by Larry King, but he literally wanted to know, and he was curious. But I'll give you the question that I noticed from him and that I've always used. I know we can't swear on this show, okay? I know we can't use profanity, but I'm going to give you the most confrontational, combative word that's ever been written that riles people up more than anything. And that 3-letter word is why. And that literally will stop a conversation. People will literally text me or message me, and anyone watching this, be aware, I will get a Facebook message and they go, oh, Steve, I'm at this event. We should grab a beer. And I'll just turn around and I'll go, why? And it will offend people. And I've had people going, oh, you arrogant. I heard you were chill and all this kind of stuff. You know, go screw yourself. I've had those responses. And then I've had people going, good question. I want to talk to you about X, Y, Z. The why question gets beyond the first question. And as you say quite simply, and I was in the concierge industry, I had people coming to me asking me questions. Never answer or provide what people ask you. Get into the why, the need, the lust, and the desire. That's what you need. And you get there by asking that combative word, why. It could be, why is that important? Why do you need to do that? Let me understand why you need this today. You know, why can't we wait? Why is a phenomenal word that should be overused in your vocabulary?
Yeah, I'm gonna pile onto that, guys, because there's multiple directions to take that. Not only when it comes to sales and you're trying to stand out and go beyond the transaction, find out their goals, their hopes, their dreams, and why they have those hopes, dreams, and goals. But it also works with your team. You know, when it comes to accountability and someone misses a deadline and you go, why? Or for all you managers out there and you want your loan officers to deliver a total cost analysis to everyone and they don't, and you go, why? Why is the most important and most valuable accountability word for leaders to ask your team. Remember, accountability is not just yelling at someone, being angry with someone, making someone feel bad. Accountability is if they didn't meet your standard, if they didn't do what you agree they're going to do, ask them why. And then, of course, from a sales standpoint, Todd, anything you want to pile on this inside out game on standing out before we get on the outside in?
I'm just smiling because, you know, I've had drinks with Steve, so I just wonder why he actually accepted the invitation. So I'm grateful for that.
I thought you were Dave Savage. That's why.
You know, because we look so much alike, I understand. You know, it really comes back to, I love the where you tied it into leadership, Dave, because I think that's a big part of it, right? As a coach, that's one of the things I always have to dig into people on why their goal is important to them. Because if we can help them figure out why that goal is important, then I know I can hold them accountable to it. And if they can't figure out what they're striving for, you know, it's one thing to set a goal, but it's another thing to have a why behind it. And so I think it's great that you tied it back to the accountability piece. And, you know, I just love the fact, Steve, that you brought that in there as an offensive question to some people. And in the end, Dave, you're right. It should be part of everyone's hopes and dreams conversation. And it just makes me think a little bit about, you know, the #1 video in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel last year, what's your rate, right? They didn't answer the question, like Steve said. You know, they actually started asking questions like why.
Wow, that was a good one, Todd. Nice tie back. Homework assignment for everyone to watch that video where we asked a bunch of incredible mortgage professionals, what's your rate? And have we nailed the date of Scriptapalooza? And because I know we're gonna, I think you and I decided like we're gonna do Scriptapalooza again, but we're also gonna make sure one of the scripts is how do they respond to what's your rate? Did we pick a date yet for that?
I can't remember. I'll have to look at my calendar. Let me.
All right. Well, we're not going to say it right now. We'll look in a minute, guys. That will be coming up. I don't know if it's next month or anyways, we are scheduling that.
We got
is it next month? Is it next month?
Next month.
Okay. So we actually got to start promoting that. All right. So Steve, let's transition tactics. And even if you shared something in that last video we did a month and a half ago, let's assume that either people didn't watch it, because I'll bet you at least half the people that are watching this one didn't watch that one, or two, everything we said bears reminding. So let's not worry about new stuff, but feel free to share new stuff just for me, because I was on that last call and I like new stuff. But what are some of the tactics of standing out?
Okay. The easiest way to stand out, first of all, is to be comfortable to be standing out. You don't want to create friction. If I turn up at an event with you and I'm wearing a wig and I've got a bright red jacket on or something, and it's, you know, yellow pants or something like that, I'm a friction to you. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is enter as comfort. You enter as comfort by turning up as the person that they are expecting you to be. So the first thing you should do is anywhere that you appear digitally, make sure it's current. Okay. Mortgage, the mortgage world and the loan world is the worst for using pictures from a photo shoot that they got from the 1980s when they were borderline between moving into the real estate industry or soft porn. The amount of times we still see people using old photoshopped pictures and trying to kind of like use the sex sells aspect for any of the mortgage and real estate world. Trust me, when you're turning up with your wife, you don't want that. Okay. Yet I'm surprised how many people still use it. So that's the first thing. But the other way to turn up comfortably is to use the platforms that everyone is getting accustomed to. Now, I'll explain that more. 2020 made us get into certain habits. It forced us to get into habits. And they always say it takes 3 months to get a habit, 3 months to be, on a diet, 3 months in a gym, 3 months to learn a language. Over the past 10 to 11 months, we've had these habits forced on us, okay? And one of those habits is barcodes, okay? Another one's videos. So start to look at the triggers that we've been using over the past year and start using those, because those are now the new normal. Give you an example. We've seen restaurants open and close, outside dining, takeaway only. But one of the habits that we've seen is that restaurants are now using barcodes when you turn up. And you turn up and they, instead of giving you a menu, they will give you, like on the beer mat or something like that, a barcode that your phone will hover and it'll pop the menu up. Now, they're doing it at the moment because, hey, we don't want you touching paper. Everything needs to be sterile. They're using those reasons, and they're good, valid reasons. But do you think restaurants are going to go back to printing menus? Think about it. They can remove the dish of the day. They can remove anything they don't have literally by just going on that computer and deleting it from that line. They can add new things. So it's far more adaptable for them to use the QR code on their menus than printing menus again. Also, let's be honest, how much money do you think they save by not having to throw away 200 menus every month because you spilt your beer on it? So QR codes are being taught and forced on us as a habit. Anything you print should have a QR code on it. Absolutely anything you print should. Here's the old thing, and I've done this on stages, you know this. I always say to people, hey, who here has a business card? Everyone sticks their hand up. Who here gives out loads of business cards? Everyone sticks their hands up. Who hates getting business cards? Everyone sticks their hands up. But anything you print, including a business card, if you go to a company, I don't have any shares in it, called QR Generator, or look up any QR code websites, you can get a QR code that has your face or your logo or a caricature you can pop in the middle so people know it's you. And you can use the same philosophy that restaurants are using for yourself. You can direct it to an article. You can direct that QR code to a downloadable VCF so that they get all your contact details without you having to type it in. That QR code gives you control of where you send the client. If you're a realtor, it can go to the home of the day. If you are a mortgage loan officer, it can go to a blog article, or it can go to your website, or it can go to your Facebook. You can do anything with it. But people are getting used to using QR codes. Anything you print should have a QR code. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and this
Time out. So guys, if anyone is doing that already, we would, again, mastermind. If we were in a live audience, I'm like, hey, who's already doing this? And I don't want to know. So please raise your hand. Are you using something other than, I think you called it QRcodegenerator.com?
No, the one I'm using is QR Generator.
And QR Generator.
Yeah, it allows me to stick my little, when I go on Facebook, I'll shove up my little QR code up there, but it's allowed me to actually shove my little picture in there, because you'll see that QR code and you'll know it's Steve Sims. So I use that because I get to put my face in the middle of it. My lovely, pretty face.
So I want to know, community, are you doing this? I also feel free over the next few minutes, if you're doing something that's helping you stand out, and you can just put it in a tweet, like in comments, just what are you doing to stand out? And it could be anything. It could be technology, it could not be technology, but what comes to your mind? When I ask you, what do you do to stand out? How do you answer that? Put that in comments below. So go ahead. Next one, brother.
Consumption. Now, this really took me back. This one actually caught me off guard. In 2020, we were predominantly working from home. Now, a lot of us were already working from home in any case, but when we're in the office, you're working on the computer at the office and you check your phone for your personal stuff. But predominantly, you're on the desktop or your laptop in the office. We're working from home now. So you would have thought that your home computer would have actually got used more. Do you know they reckon that the consumption of you searching and working off of the phone has increased threefold with us being at home, because our phone is constantly with us now. We are constantly walking around with his phone, constantly searching, checking emails on there. You have to understand that if you send something out via email, it may look beautiful on an email when it's opened up on a laptop or a desktop or even an iPad or smart pad, whatever. But on your phone, that information changes format. So understanding that more people consume information off of this tiny screen, make sure whatever you're sending looks brilliant here first, and then it will look good everywhere else. Okay. If you're going to send out an email regarding a new offer, a new rate, a new deal, type up that email, send it to yourself, pick up your phone, check what it looks like there first before you send it out. You'll be amazed at how many times it actually gets configured, because you may have a font on your computer that doesn't translate over onto your phone, whether it be like an Android or a smartphone, an iPhone. So look at where people are consuming information, and more people are consuming today mobile devices. And I think it's 80% of emails are read via a mobile device. So always make sure anything you send out is read on the platform that they predominantly consume.
I want to add something to that, because one of the biggest trends I think has taken place in 2020 that I think is super important in the mortgage industry is cash is dying. I want you to just think of your personal habits of where are you buying things, you know, Amazon, on your phone. How many people are using cash versus Apple Pay or some type of, you know, scan pay at a store? So, I mean, cash is not dead, but it's dying fast. And I do think, guys, that plays into what does that mean to you as a mortgage professional? I think it just raises the stakes as to what Steve just said. And it also, you know, there's this term called Omni Channel. And Omni Channel was really invented by the retail. And the concept was it's not only multi-channel communication, text, email, social, but it's how you do business with me. And it includes store. So omni-channel's in person, but guys, omni-channel is your mobile phone. And so I think as mortgage professionals, and I think in this community of mortgage coach, most of you are omni-channel mortgage professionals, but I would just ask you, are you delivering an omni-channel experience in a very elegant way? And I could just tell you this, if 80% or more of your families are not filling out their app with a link, then there's something in your words that could be different. Because when I interview the best of the best, well, hey, there are families that don't want to fill it out with a link. And omni-channel is, well, let's give that family what they want and let's interview them. Let's bring them in, whatever they want. That's omni-channel. But if you're not giving advice with a link, that's mortgage coach, and you're giving it with a PDF, that's broken experience. You're not an omni-channel loan officer if you're not giving advice with a link. And then one last comment, and then Todd, let's see where you want to go with this. Your needs, your conditions, like when you take the app and then you have a needs list, so many loan officers are not delivering that in a plain English, mobile optimized way. You're doing it in a way that you're assuming they're going to look at it on a desktop, and you're assuming that they like to read something that looks like it was written by an attorney or a processor. So one of the best ways of giving that needs list is omni-channel. And if you're not giving advice in an omni-channel way, you're not a modern, well, put it this way, you're not a level 5 modern mortgage professional. You might be level 3, you might be level 4, but if you're not doing what Steve just said, you're not a level 5 modern mortgage professional. Todd, anything you want to add to that?
Well, I'm just thinking that the reason that traffic on mobile devices is up threefold is because people are down on their Zoom calls and they got their phone in their hand and they're searching there so they can pretend they're paying attention to the call that they're on. But I thought that was genius, Steve, just to send it to yourself first to look at it to make sure it's mobile friendly. I mean, most people are thinking, well, how do I do that? I must need some software, and you're like, no, just send it to yourself. And so I think the whole idea of simplification as you're doing these things and using the tools like what Dave just mentioned, to make the experience better for your clients, because ultimately, if you can make it more seamless for them and deliver a 5-star experience, it's also going to be easier for you. So it's just part of the systems, I think, of where we're going. So I love the fact, Steve, that you're bringing up technologies that we probably aren't using. A couple people in the chat actually said that they are using QR codes primarily to drive people towards their websites and put on marketing. So good for you guys for doing that. What else technology-wise, Steve, do you think that people are using differently now in 2021 because of 2020?
So they're not doing it differently, but they're doing it more of. And it's bringing up to the point that Dave just said. You see, there was a time frame maybe 3 or 4 years ago that someone would see something, and this is stupidity, but it's what happened. People would see something on their phone, and then they would go home and they would look it up on their computer, and they would make the purchase on the computer. And when people researched, why are you buying more? Why is the transaction being completed on a computer and not on a phone? Do you know the common answer was security? I don't trust buying it on my phone. I do on my computer when it's the same Wi-Fi. It made no sense. The data is still being sent over exactly the same Wi-Fi, but people would look at it on the phone. They go, no, I'll finish off this purchase on there. But now if you think of the amount of purchases that have been simplified, and Dave brought it up, because these phones have things like Apple Pay and your credit cards and all these things on your phone now, whereas before you used to say, oh, leave the phone on the worktop when you come home because you're home now. You can't, because this controls your thermostat. In some cases, this controls your TV. I have one room in my bedroom where I operate my TV from my phone. Okay, so we're being taught to keep this in our hands now, because not only does it do phone calls, which, let's be honest, is the least you use it for, it also pays things. But how many times you want to buy something on iTunes, it's easier to just go, swipe, and I've already purchased it. Amazon, swipe, I've already bought it now. We're being taught to use this way more than we are the computers. So it's going to get more regular. Dave's right. Money, I don't know if we're going to see cash ever die, but more and more and more, this is going to be the currency that we have to use. Another thing that we should be doing a lot of. Yes, Dave?
Well, I want to mention how many people, I'd love to get your interaction on this, actually would prefer to purchase something on their mobile phone now. Because I know I have. Like, even if I saw something on my computer or somewhere else, I want to buy it here. So I do want to just get some feedback on that. How many other people this is where you are conducting transactions more than any place else? Let us know. Go ahead, bro.
Do you know, I would be putting my hand up. There is an app called Shop, and it encrypts your credit card details, and you put an email, and whenever you go to a vendor that's got a link to Shop, as soon as you put your email in there, it says, do you want to purchase? And it sends your phone a code, and you open it up and it completes the purchase. I don't have to put in my address. I don't have to put my credit card in.
Yeah, I use the same one.
So I'm completing everything on there now. All right, so let's get over to
time out. I just want to throw a pile on that. I'm to the point now where if it doesn't integrate with PayPal, Shop, or Apple Pay, I might just go, I'm not going to buy that. Like I am so spoiled now that, if there's a piece of clothing, thank God for my Allbirds that they make it easier than ever to buy Allbirds. But I mean, it's impacting what I'll purchase. So guys, let us know down below. And Steve, we got 20 minutes, but I do want to make sure at some point we get to video text, because I think it's even bigger than ever. So what do you got next? And make sure we leave time to talk about video text.
I was going into it now.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
There are change. Okay, first question. If I send you an email, what is the respectable time frame for you to respond to that email? 2 days? What do you think, Dave? A couple of days? Is that fair enough? If I send you an email,
or never. I mean,
never. Yeah,
you know, yeah, like that's an option. Like and by the way, even if I've had some really important emails from some really important people that they got lost, and I never. But yeah, 2 days, a day, to 2 days.
How many times have you realized you haven't responded to the person's email, and then you've turned around and gone, Steve, I'm sorry, man, it landed in my junk file, but I've just seen it now. You know,
been there, done that.
We've all been there, done that. But when was the last time that I sent you a text that it landed in your junk file?
Never.
Because we don't have it yet. Now, I'm telling you now, warning, the world is changing. Sprint and AT&T are just announcing that they're going to be starting policing texts. But I send out multi-channel. So I will send something on my social pages. I will send out an email promoting the same offer. I will send out a text. So I will try and get you from all angles. Social is still really good. Email, even as good as I think sometimes I am, if I get a 28% open rate on an email, that's time to get the freaking ticker tape out and the bunting. That's a time to send out the parade because you got a really high open rate on your email. But when I send out a text, it's A, shorter, and B, got a 99% open rate. Doesn't land in junk. And here's the other thing. When you get it and you text someone, it goes, bing, there's a little alert that pops up and interrupts everything else on your phone to let you know you got a text. Another question for the public here. If I send you a text, how fast are you going to be to respond to that text?
Pretty darn quick.
We always do. You'll see a little red button pop up on your emails to let you know you've got a new email. I'll get to it when I'm ready. You get a text, you're like, bing, because people know that texts are brevity. People know that texts are conversational. And people think texts are always from friends because they have your cell phone number. So it's like when you get your Amazon box. Everyone's excited to get their Amazon box each night. You know it's toilet roll, but you are pre-triggered that when you get a box, it makes you feel like Christmas or birthday. Even though you ordered the bloody thing, you're excited. The text is the same thing. You got a message that's conversational from a friend. So you can literally send a message out to everybody on your text file going, hey, what are you doing with these rates? If you want to chat with it further, let me know. And you can send that text out to absolutely, you haven't got to say, Dave. You haven't got to finish it off with, with regards, Steve Sims, stevedsims.com. You haven't got to do all of that because texts are conversational. There's a natural assumption that if I'm texting you, I must be your mate, okay? And you can take it a little bit further, especially when you're as good looking as Dave Savage here. You can pick this up and you can record a video and going, hey, there is a ton of stuff going on in the industry at the moment. We haven't chatted for a while. When would be a good time for us to chat? And you can send that video to absolutely everyone on your text file. And you, again, same video, it gets alerted up on the phone. And here's the beautiful thing. You get the tonality. You get the excitement of Dave. You get to see him visually. You get everything bar the personal actual interaction, the feel and the smell, okay? So you've got a lot of the senses already covered and you're like, oh, great. And bang, you respond. There are text platforms out there that are sending out warnings. The mass texting is coming to an end. For now, you need to jump on it and text as much as you can. I will send out an email. I'll maybe get 5 closes, 10 closes on an event or something I'm doing. I will send the text email out and I will be up in the 60% close rate, okay? far, far, far higher because quite simply, it's getting through to your people. So I'm a great believer in text. Nothing's interrupting it at the moment. Every text I've ever sent has always been received. Whether or not it's been acknowledged or whether or not you've responded, hey, that's different. But text is the way to go for today.
All right, so
stand out.
Steve just gave us a to-do, right? An action plan, a script, super easy, right? There's a lot going on in the industry right now. We haven't connected in a while. Let's catch up, right? I mean, it's super easy. Just ask it as a question and
short.
Get it done now and get some loans going by Monday.
Yeah.
And
You'll be
then if
amazed
they don't
if you just ask
respond,
that.
and if they don't respond to you, ask them, why haven't you responded? Why?
Why? Yeah. Why? You know, one of the best subject lines that I use it every now and then. So if any of you are on any of my lists or anything like that, you'll probably see it go there. I type up, what did I do wrong? Or why didn't you respond? Those are my two subject lines that I actually put in there. Again, it's confrontational, but I've just told you about a rate that's going to save you a fortune. I've just told you about the property that you really wanted in your wildest dreams. Why didn't you respond? You know, eager to know, you know, just something like that.
So guys, for all those leads that have gone cold, that, you know, they're slow rolling you, or they're on ice, ask them, hey, why haven't we heard back from you? Why not? Let us know how that works. So let's do video. I've got like about a 2-minute idea. I want to make sure I have time to share on how to stand out. But tell us about video text, where it's a trifecta of value in standing out.
Well, we kind of covered it. It's and people are so frightened, and this is where you've.
But we got to remind them over and over and over again. You know, it's one of those things.
This is where Dave has given us a masterclass without realizing he's given us a masterclass, because Dave turns up and it's Dave. The problem with people doing video texts is they're like, crap, I got to do my hair. You know, I've got to be able to do it. I've got to make sure my lighting's good. And oh my God, how's my beard today? They over prepare when you absolutely shouldn't, because the key today is to relate to somebody else. So if you're having a bad hair day, you can literally just pick up your phone, click video, put it on selfie mode and go, hey, I apologize, I'm having a bad hair day, but you know, don't we all have those occasionally? I didn't want it to get into the way of what I wanted to talk to you about because we haven't spoken for a while. You can just show up. You know, if you've got the amount of times, and Todd will tell you this, the amount of times that I've been having a barbecue and I'll just send someone out a text of me drinking a glass of whiskey. And I'll be like, hey, I'm having a glass of whiskey. We haven't had a glass of whiskey for too damn long. I pray that it's going to be soon. I don't want to upset Todd, but I'll send that video to like 200 people. And they're all thinking, oh, he sent it just to me. Isn't that lovely? Send it out. Now, of course, the ones I send to you, Todd, they are just to you. Trust me.
I'm still going to believe that. Don't worry.
Oh, you should, because these ones are definitely just for you. But the point is, with video, you've got the smile, you've got the surrounding, you've got the energy, and you're being you. And that's the key. Don't over polish. My wife has told me I've never overthought anything in my life. And I think that's a compliment. But I just do. You know, if you've got something to say that's going to benefit somebody else, don't over prepare. Take a note out of Larry King's book there. Don't over prepare. Pick the phone up, shoot, and be ready. Be ready. Send it out to 20 people. Now, let me ask you some basics here. If you shoot a video, the video should be, oh God, anywhere from 15 to 35 seconds, because all you're trying to do is get them to give you a time for you to interact with them. All right. So the video for a start is going to be short. First question, Todd, I know you're brilliant with numbers, so I'm going to ask you this question. How much does that cost?
Nothing.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. So now I'm going to get that video. It's on my phone. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the person up on my index, on my contacts, and I'm going to push attach video, and I'm going to send it, and I'm going to send out 20 texts. Now my phone's hooked up to the Wi-Fi, so I'm not using the cellular. So if I send 20, picking on you again, Todd, if I send out 20 video texts via Wi-Fi on my phone, how much does that cost me?
Still zero.
Where is the problem in this? Okay, I've given you a way of getting your personality. And bearing in mind, the first thing that Dave hit us with when we started was about showing up. To show up, you've got to be you. You haven't got to follow someone else. You haven't got to try and be someone you're not. You've got to be you. And it's amazing when I coach people, the first thing they go is, oh, I want a unique brand. You are a unique brand. You're the moron that tried to impersonate someone else because you thought that was the smarter idea to do. Dave has never tried to be anyone he's not. Anytime you've ever bumped into Dave, any show, any conference, he is 100% unapologetic Dave. He's unique. He's a unicorn. So when he sends out a video, it's 100% him showing up as him for your benefit. And as Todd, a phenomenal mathematician here, has just confirmed, it costs you all.
Love it, guys. So let's go into wrap up mode and let's make sure you guys got some ideas, and let's also connect it for you as a mortgage coach. You are a mortgage coach, and I'm going to ask you guys, if you are a loan officer and you quote rates and fees to a family, here's your rate, here's your payment, here's your cash to close, is this going to stand out? Like if you were quoting rates and this is how you're doing it, guys, you are not standing out. This is status quo. This is confusing for the family. It doesn't tell them how they're going to achieve their hopes, their dreams, and their goals. If they're renting, it's not going to help them understand the value of homeownership. And guys, it is a commodity. You are commoditizing yourself if this is how you're quoting rates and fees. And you're a mortgage coach. Like if you're on this call, you have access to this platform. Now, there are people in our Facebook group and our YouTube channel that don't have the membership, but it's easy to get, guys. And this is how you do a refi. When you refinance someone's home, you make sure that when you quote the rates and fees, you want to stand out. Make sure it's got your picture, it's got your logo. I do recommend that when you take an app, you put a text video on it. Like Josh Meadow does that better than anyone. And he does it for every single family. And then after they fill out the app and it's time to give them advice, put a video on it. Do it natively. Put the video in the TCA. And then again, you want to stand out. You need to go beyond the transaction. Don't just tell them what the rate is and how much money you're going to save per month. Say, hey, you're going to save X per month. And then tell them what's the power of that savings. What if they took that savings and they prepaid their mortgage? In this particular case by Amber Kovarik, she would actually help them pay off their home 9 years faster. Guys, that is standing out. So make sure you do that. One more message I wanted to make sure before we wrap. I want to make sure you guys all noticed a little gift that we put in the Mortgage Coach last week, that when you do debt consolidation loans now, we've got a new feature and function that will break down that family's debt, their mortgage, their auto, their student loans. You can model that short-term, long-term. You can net it out for the family. By the way, guys, netting things out is standing out. Like most loan officers don't net it out. They don't make the value of their advice, net it out. Show them, hey, what percentage of your debt is your mortgage? What percentage of your debt is your auto? Like net it out for the family. My closing thought, and then we're going to go back to Steve and to Todd for final thoughts, is, guys, take some notes on this. Like, I do believe this concept from Larry King is pure gold. So I would write down your version of this. I have it memorized because I got it from the man himself. But guys, you got it from me. You got it from Steve. Like, you could take Steve's story, that story, your stories, and whatever note you need to make to yourself. I do believe the most powerful thing we could do in today's digital world, it is be present for people. And it is that question after the question is something that everybody can do. So Todd, any questions you have for Steve or any coaching notes you want to make sure we get to everybody?
Well, I think it's just the coaching notes is just to do something that Steve said today, right? I think sending out a quick video text to your database is just super easy, or send out a quick text asking them a question of why they haven't refinanced yet, and then reply back and I'll send you a total cost analysis. Something along those lines is so easy, and I think it's just great to have that reminder. So I'm grateful for that, Steve. What else would you kind of tie a bow on it, because of the fact that people know what to do, they're not doing it? Any other script you would give them? Any other encouragement you would give them?
Yeah, apart from actually driving around to your house and kicking you up the arse, you've just gone through an hour with two phenomenal people. As this closes off, I'd like to give you a clock. I'd like you to give yourself a 15-minute timer as of 10 o'clock till 10:15. All you've got to do is pick up the phone, put it on selfie video, and just turn around and go, hey, I wanted to interrupt you today. I just got off an hour's session with two geniuses. Oh, I wasn't calling it you two geniuses. And we've come up with something that I think will be phenomenal for you regarding the consolidation. When would be a good time to talk? Use what you've just learned. You can even drop a text in there going, hey, I was just talking to someone this morning about Larry King, and they brought something up to me that really we should be using. When's a good time for us to chat? Just drop that little kind of curious nugget in there to make them go, Larry King, what's that about? And then contact them and go, I was speaking with Dave Savage, and Dave Savage was telling me about getting to the why. I want to understand your why. Use what you've got today as the story for your video, and in the next 15 minutes, I dare you, send it out to 20 people and see what you get back. That's all I'm asking.
Love it. So Steve, for anyone that wants to make sure they follow you on different social media, make sure that they know about any workshops that you're doing or anything that they can do to just get value outside of this call, what do they do?
Well, if you're in Arizona on the 10th and 11th of February, you have no excuse. You should come to my speakeasy. You can find that. It's on a website called simsspeakeasy.com. But Sims Distillery is my private inner circle where I rant on about different stuff. But to be honest with you, I just love being part of your community. I was here today to serve you wonderful people. I got a tremendous amount of respect for both of the hosts here. So I'm just thrilled to be part of the family.
Well, it's an honor to have you as part of this family. Jenny Mason just said text video is amazing. You'll get tons more response and be real. So great. Robert, thank you. He just posted a link to Steve's websites. And guys, I brought Steve on this call because not only do I think he could add an hour of value, but I think you following him in the places he told you to follow him, following him on social media, going to his events, you'll get even more value. So please, if you got value from this and you want to say thank you to Steve, best way to do that is to go to his links, follow him on social media, engage with him in all the places he covered. So guys, I thank you so much. I hope you both have an awesome weekend. And Steve, I hope you and I get to have an old fashioned together at some point in 2021, brother.
It's going to happen, pal. I appreciate this. I've actually got to bail in a second because I got a 10 o'clock, but it's been a pleasure always to be anywhere in your universe. So you and Todd.
Give me a virtual fist bump.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom.
All right.
Thanks, guys. See you
All
later.
right, guys. This call's a wrap. Todd, anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, just cheers. I look forward to the next drink with both of you live at some point in 2021.
Yeah, right on, guys. Want to remind everybody every Tuesday, every Friday, I'm interviewing someone amazing, or we're having a mastermind. And then we are doing black belt training every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So if you want to go from white belt loan officer to black belt, or if you're a black belt and you just want to, you got a strategy that you want some help with, Wednesday at 11, we're training. Also, every Thursday, we're doing training. Think of it as like an Apple Genius Bar where you could just show up and ask questions. We do group training at 9. The calendar is in your product or it's on our website. We have a calendar there too. Take care, everybody. This call is a wrap.
See you next week.
Yeah, Philip, by the way, you just said sign up. It's in our calendar. Or if you still can't find it, post that question in our Facebook group and we'll get the answer to you.